Grace here from the Spartan Truth Tellers, and today we are going to be doing our first recipe, our first actual cooking show in Spartan Cooking. It is the recipe on page 133 of the book. It's called Mountain Dew Pudding. It's a very simple pudding, lots of sugar and lots of eggs, which means Tiny can't eat it. And first thing is first, when you're going to bake anything, you want to preheat your oven so that it bakes evenly and the heat is in the oven already. Sounds very intelligent. I've preheated this to 400 degrees. In this oven, you just turn it to the degree you want, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius, for all you non-Americans like us. And then you leave it for as long as it needs it. I'm going to start by cracking all the eggs and putting all the ingredients together in the right amounts, so that you will know how to do it, and I will know how to do it, and it'll all go smoothly. So to begin, we need 2 eggs, split. So whites are going to go in here, and yolks are going to go in here. An easy way to separate eggs is to crack them down the middle and move the yolk back and forth between the 2 eggshells, because it separates the egg whites without breaking the yolk. If you're really, really good, which I'm not always, you can get the little extra membrane off the very outside of the yolk, but I don't think it's going to happen today. So there you go. I like to have a garbage bowl on hand if you don't have like a garbage next to you, because it makes your life a little easier. Now for the second one. Alright, your egg yolks. We're going to put the whites aside because they have to be beat, and if we get any extra stuff in there, nothing will be good. And I'll put the yolks over here and wash my hands. Now that we have separated our eggs and I've washed my hands, we're going to roll the crackers. Now, we are using graham crackers because in 1902 we really aren't sure what the Sparta people used for crackers. This is our best bet. It says 3, but for the amount of milk we're using, we're going to use 6 little ones. And we gotta break them up until they're like breadcrumbs. I guess you could probably buy like pre-crushed graham crackers for this in your supermarket, but we're just not that cool. Ideally, we would do this with a rolling pin or a hammer, but neither of which are available at the moment, so this would work just fine. So we want this about as fine as breadcrumbs, because it's making up the body of it, so it's replacing like flour or cornmeal in the recipe. So fine is good. If you want it chunkier, if you're too lazy, whatever, it's all up to you. It's up for interpretation. That is good enough for me. So next we need 1 pint of milk, which we have deduced is 2 cups. For all you people who, aren't Americans. If we are wrong, Americans, please correct us. 2 cups of milk. In the recipe it says a small piece of butter, so I'm going to do a little bit more in the teaspoon, because, small piece of butter. What's that mean, right? I love butter. It's the best thing next to sliced bread. Small piece of butter, about a teaspoon. And last but not least, we need sugar. So for the first part of the recipe, we need half a cup of sugar. And in the next part of the recipe, which is the meringue, which we use the egg whites for, we're going to need 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm only going to do the first half right now. Alright, so there you have your ingredients. You have 1 pint of milk, half a cup of sugar, your 2 egg yolks, your butter, little piece of butter, and your 3 rolled graham crackers. So, we're going to start the assembly. In here, we take our rolled crackers, and you add your first 4 ingredients, so your milk, your sugar, your egg yolks, and your butter. Start with milk. Fold in the sugar. Add your egg yolks. And butter, which ideally would have been just a little bit softer. Whatever. Okay. I'm going to bring out the whisk here and mix up and see if we need some more breadcrumbs, just add a little bit more body. We're adding more breadcrumbs because it's not thick enough. We assume that it needs to be kind of bread pudding-like, less custard, more bread. So I've added 4 more, and I still don't think it's thick enough, so I might end up adding 5 or 6 more. We'll get you exact amounts when we're done. Ooh. That didn't happen. Never ever happened. Okay, cut, well tied, and wash his dishes. Okay. So I'm greasing the baking pan. I just use a little bit of butter because I prefer butter and it darkens up a little bit better. And a piece of paper towel. Save your fingers. And you just kind of rub it around the pan to get it nice and greasy so that the cake doesn't stick. Or the pudding doesn't stick, I apologize. If you have non-stick spray or vegetable oil that you prefer, if you're lactose intolerant, you can use whatever you like. You just want to grease the pan so that it's a lot easier to clean and the cake comes out smoothly. 1 greased baking dish. Okay, so we're back. I ended up adding about 10 more crackers, so it's 16 little ones in total, and warming the butter a little bit, so that it melted a little more evenly. We now have something kind of resembling a thin cake batter. We're hoping this is what we're looking for. Now we're going to pour it into our greased baking dish, which is over here. And pray to God that this is exactly what we need. Alright, so after that, we now have our stuff, our batter, in the baking dish and ready to go in the oven. So, we bring this to our preheated oven, which has been preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius, and we're putting it on a middle rack, just because that's a little bit more evenly temperatured. Alright, now let's hope this works. Okay, so while we were waiting for that to bake, I whipped up our egg whites and added sugar, so we have a very loose meringue, as it is said. It's a very simple process. We have this really, really awesome old 50s mixer, which is like the coolest thing on earth. And it's finished baking, so if you will follow me, I will show you the finished pudding before we add the meringue. So it kind of turned out like a bit like a sponge cake. It's fancy. Okay, now we're going to add the meringue on top. Throw it in the oven for 15 more minutes. for this to get all golden. Alright. Seems to be going well. Okay.
There we go.
So, here's the finished product of the coolest looking dessert known to man. Mountain Dew pudding. God, it looks so cool. Be sure to shut your ovens off, people. Oh, crispy over here. So there you are, Mountain Dew pudding, and it's falling. Mountain Dew pudding.
Awesome.
Totally want to try it. Okay, see what this tastes like. Mmm. That's delicious. It's like a s'more without the chocolate. Oh, so good. So very good. Try it, people. Make it at home. It looks really cool and it's delicious. Except, of course, it will kill tannin. So, bye everyone! Enjoy Mountain Dew pudding!